What are the rules for being separated while living in the same home?
For an in-home separation to be accepted by the court, two people, even if they are still married, need to be living separate lives, even if they're under the same roof. So from a practical perspective, the easiest way you can think about this is as if you had a roommate. It doesn't have to be a stranger. If you're able to do it, you can still be cordial to each other. You can still speak, especially if there are children in the same home. You can give each other courtesies so that it's limiting the trauma to the children. But it needs to be as if you are two individual roommates. So if I'm making dinner and I have dinner left on the stove, you're not coming in 15 minutes later and just eating the food that I made on the stove. Or if I'm doing laundry, I'm doing my laundry. We don't have two people's clothes that are dirty running around in the same laundry machine if we're living separate lives. Your finances need to be as separated out as possible. Now, often there are combined bills, and so that's a topic where we need to speak usually with a lawyer and make sure that these are being paid accurately and fairly and in a way that will increase the likelihood of the court making determinations at the end of the case that are in your favor. But I'm not necessarily just covering your bill just because I love you, and you're not necessarily covering my bill just because you love me. That's when we're married and in a marital union. When we're separated, we're doing these things separately as best as we can, unless there's a reason legally that we are handling the bills jointly, consistent with court obligations or in anticipation of moving forward at court. If we need to be at the same party or activity together, a family event, a neighborhood party, it's acceptable for two people to be at that same event. You don't have to avoid each other in public all the time, but you shouldn't be holding hands together at that event. You shouldn't be introducing each other to friends as your current spouse. There needs to be some level of separation even in those events, because it's how you're holding yourselves out to the public. You need to be holding yourselves out as two separate entities rather than hands locked, arms around each other. Physical intimacy, if at all possible, needs to be avoided during a period of separation. This is another question that can get complicated, obviously. Speak to your attorney if you need specific legal advice on this. But the general rule that the courts are expecting is that separate lives means separate personal lives and separate intimate lives. If you have children, you can host a birthday party together for the children if that's needed or if that's necessary. Or you can have two separate birthday parties, even if they're both at the house. These are topics that can get very sensitive, they can get very emotional, and are probably things that you should speak with your divorce attorney about.